For 40 years, the Grand Prix of Long Beach has been a destination for motorsports fans. This is its 40th anniversary, but it's a weekend of celebration because celebrating its 25th year of continuous racing activity is the Pirelli World Challenge. It is time to fire them up at the Roar by the Shore. Welcome to the Pirelli World Challenge paddock here at Long Beach as we are setting up for the second event of the 25th anniversary celebration season of the Pirelli World Challenge, the Roar by the Shore, presented by Kia. We are in the Optima Battery fan zone. Yesterday, a huge autograph session, had to actually extend it by 30 minutes. So many fans showed up, and this is the place to be for another, couple of minutes. Then you want to get out trackside because that race is about to start. I'm Greg Creamer, this is Jeff Lepper, and Jeff, for 40 years, this has been one of the most copied but never truly matched street course races in the world, to be sure. We've been coming here now for a lot of years. This is the 9th visit for the Pirelli World Challenge, but I don't think we've ever had a field like this, certainly not in size, certainly not in international flavor. A standing start into turn one, oh boy.
Yeah, 40 cars taking the green here, 20 GT cars, 20 GTS cars, all led by those two Cadillacs on the pole. Johnny O'Connell, his teammate right next to him, Andy Pilgrim, those beautiful CTS VRs. Back to GTS. How about this? Jack Roush Jr. coming into the series now in a Ford Mustang, and Nick Janssen. Are the gremlins gone from that Kia Motors America Kia Optima sitting on the outside of pole in GTS?
Yeah, showing the speed that they never had a chance to show due to those mechanical issues. Just fluky little things at St. Pete. I think we're in for an absolute street fight here. There's no question of that. One of the things, talking about those caddies up front, the launch control in those cars is so tweaked. They know this track. They've been racing here. Some of the teams that are running here, this is the first time at Long Beach, so the caddies taking advantage of it in qualifying for sure, but they're going to have challenges in the race. It takes a while for those GT3 cars to wake up sometimes and get the heat in the tires, and then we've got to talk about Mike Skeen, the CRP team, moving that Hawk Performance sponsorship over to an Audi.
Yeah, that's right. He picked himself up an Audi R8 Ultra with that CRP racing team, and Mike Skeen behind the wheel of an Audi now. I mean, it's going to be the one to watch. Qualified 9th. He'll be out today. He's going to be probably a dark horse in this, not only race, but the whole championship. Oh,
I think so. And they had a little issue in qualifying. In the practice session, they went out, quickly got into the top 5, then pit, come out, eke into the top 4, pit, tweak it. I mean, they kept moving forward. They said in qualifying, we over-tweaked it just a little bit, and that's just not having a lot of data and knowledge about these Audis. But they do have the help of Audi Customer Support Program, and that's going to be essential. But I think they go back to the setup that they had in the practice runs. Mike Skeen should be able to get up near the front in a big hurry and really push for it. Now, of course, you talked about 20 cars in GTS, and what's going to happen this year? We've got Lawson Aschenbach and that Black Dog team with a year under their belt, even though they got the championship, but also a lot of contenders are going to be very strong. But who are they? Who are the guys that we want to watch? Well, we asked Jeff to kind of go on a little exploratory duty and tell us who are the guys to watch in GTS.
The 2013 GTS Championship went right down to the wire, with Lawson Aschenbach taking the championship by less than a second. We can expect more close racing in 2014 with a deep variety of drivers and cars. Lawson Aschenbach returns to defend his title in the Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro, and he carries the #1 on the side of his car. Some drivers consider that bad luck, but Aschenbach drew first blood with a victory in St. Petersburg. Jack Baldwin was last year's bridesmaid, and he's hungry for a title. He's hit the reset button this year with Reset MD sponsorship, and his nimble Porsche Cayman is always a threat. The Kia Optimas of Mark Wilkins and Nick Janssen were hit and miss in 2013. The front-wheel drive turbocharged Kias are lightning quick on the straights, and if they can marry that speed with consistency, they'll be tough to beat. Andy Lee's Crown 7 Bondurant Best IT Camaro was a pole machine in 2013, but he struggled to translate that speed into championship points. He's my dark horse pick for this year's championship.
All of these drivers are veterans of the Pirelli World Challenge, and they're all bringing their A game this 25th anniversary season.
Well, yeah, you certainly can't bet against any of those guys, Jeff, but throw in Nick Janssen and obviously that qualifying run. And, talking about Andy Lee, he almost won this thing last year and then had that little bit of contact with the wall under immense pressure and the like. I think this battle this year is going to be off the charts.
Yeah, and he showed in St. Petersburg that he was fast, led most of the laps there until some lap traffic got in his way, and he finished second. So, like I said, my dark horse. We'll have to watch out see how that plays out.
Yeah, he is wicked quick. It's just a matter of putting it all together, as you said. And, you know, we've got some amazing racing that's going to unfold here. 2 classes on the track at the same time. That presents some challenges, not just for the GT guys coming through the pack, but the GTS guys at letting them through and using those overtakes from the faster guys to their advantage. And the important thing about that, of course, is having a pro in those GTS cars. Well, we have a guest coming back after the break who might be the top pro. He certainly was in the points at the end of the season last year. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Optima Battery Fan Zone here in the Pirelli World Challenge paddock as we get ever closer to the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia, again part of this 40th annual event. It is a happening. It is a festival. It's where you need to be. And with us is one Lawson Aschenbach. And Lawson, I'll tell you what, you know, this was a place last year that really launched your championship run. Early in the season, you guys hadn't turned a lap in those cars before St. Pete last year, and yet at the third round of the championship, essentially, you were able to pull out a win.
Yeah, it was great. It was great for team momentum, and anytime you can win at the crown jewel of the World Challenge season in Long Beach was great. But you know, we had a lot of work to do from St. Pete to Long Beach last year. We had a lot of stuff to review. We learned a ton at the first race of the year. So coming in here, we knew basically what we needed to do to make our street course setup, you know, compliable for bumps and curbs and so forth. And to be able to come out here and win, and basically the second event for Black Dog Speed Shop was just awesome. And we had a great Camaro. And I would think, speaking of Camaro, the chance to run the Camaro in this championship, starting last year, as you talked about, it was a big change for Black Dog, moving from GT. Yeah.
I would think a lot of that is due to the support you were able to get from Team Chevy.
Absolutely. I mean, when we started talking about this program, obviously I've had quite a bit of experience in Camaros in the past, and the support from GM has been great in those programs. So when we just sat down to decide if we wanted to do this, and Tony and I and Ray had talked quite a bit over the winter to try to get things done, and when they decided to pull the trigger, I was very excited about that, and I knew GM was as well. So it was great to showcase this Camaro at all these events. And you know, when you come to these street courses like Long Beach, St. Petersburg, Detroit, and you have, you know, upwards of 100,000 people at certain events, I mean, that's great for marketing, and it truly allows us to prove why these cars are great street cars, because they are very close and very similar to the street car itself that we race on the track, and it's fun to be able to do that.
Brand relevance.
Exactly. Well, you've had a year now. So you won St. Petersburg street circuit.
Yep.
You come here, you won last year street circuit again.
Yeah.
You got a year of data. Is it better for you, or is that maybe sometimes information overload?
No, it's definitely better. You know, we actually made quite a bit of changes from St. Pete this year as well, and you know, we've come here with, I'd say, quite a different setup, and it seems to be working. We're very, very happy with the car right now. But you know, sometimes you can get to that point where maybe you have too much information, or you start thinking about stuff in the past when the car was so different, and our setup has changed dramatically since last year. So we kind of are going into each weekend a little bit as a new weekend still, with the new setup that we're running, but we know what we need to do, and last year definitely was a big help in doing that.
Strong top 3 run in qualifying, but you look at the race in St. Pete, you look at the race last year that you had. Leading doesn't always mean you're going to win here.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
finishing this one, survival.
Absolutely. I mean, with all the cars, and obviously the series has done a great job of bringing all these GT3 cars and the different GTS cars that we have in our class. The racing's exciting. There's a lot of passing going on, but there's also a lot of potential for problems. So, when you've got GT cars running up on GTS cars, or us sometimes running into the back of the GT field at the start of the race and so forth, things happen. We all know that, but keeping the nose clean and be able to stick it out right to the end there in the last couple laps when it really counts is going to be really important for today.
Well, any time for your championship now, you're leading the points. Is that sort of the goal for you this year, is championship, or are we looking at just, I want to win everything?
I look at the season in 2 different parts.
Okay.
The first half of the season is purely about winning. I don't think about anything to do with points and so forth, because you start thinking about that, then you maybe won't take a chance you would really want to do or so forth in a certain race to go for a win. So right now it's about race wins. We've got a great Team Chevy Camaro right now, and we're going to keep going after it until we know we're in the real hunt, and that's later on in the season.
And of course, we talked about it being a race you have to survive. It is a concrete-lined canyon of a street course, and it's one that's been around for 40 years. The event is a festival, but at its heart and soul is the racetrack. And that leads us into our Cadillac Key Corners, an amazing ride with Johnny O'Connell.
Hi, I'm Johnny O'Connell with Cadillac Racing here at Long Beach, and these are the Cadillac Key Corners at the Long Beach Grand Prix. Right now we're on the front straightaway. We get into 6th gear. Fastest part of the racetrack into turn 1, a great overtaking area. We go from 6th down to 3rd. It funnels down into this left-hander drift out to the wall. Now to one of the most challenging corners, the fountain corner. Down into 2nd gear, we use that curb a little bit, accelerate out aggressively into 3rd gear, 4th gear. Okay, then through turn 4. Again, using all the road. One of the challenges anytime you're on a street race is to use all the road but not hit those concrete walls. They win every single time. We now go down into turn 7. We're up into 5th gear. Then we break down into 3rd. Nice and tight to the apex, using all the road, accelerating out into 4th gear, into turn 8. We can't overtake in this area, especially with the slower category GTS cars. Then we finish this corner using all the road to the 2nd fastest part of the racetrack. Going down to turn 9, again into 6th gear, and really braking in deep around the 300 marker. We're onto the brakes, down into 3rd gear, carrying our momentum through turn 9, out to the wall again. The long, slow, lazy turn 10. Getting ready for one of the most important corners here, the hairpin, 2nd gear. Use all the road, accelerate hard and aggressively down the straightaway. Hopefully we've carried enough speed to pass that guy in front of us, and that is a lap of the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Well, thank you very much, Johnny. I'll tell you, that is some intense racing you've got to survive. And again, the standing start, winding around Shoreline, on the binders, into the bottleneck, into the fountain, it's going to be fierce. You've got to negotiate that to be able to win this thing, as well as a lot of laps around this track. So it's time for us to decide who might be able to best do that. Who are you thinking in GT?
GT, I'm thinking it's got to be Johnny O'Connell. This place owes him, especially after last year. He's going to put it all together.
Yeah, and of course he's won a lot here, but in the America Le Mans Series, never seen that checkered flag here at Long Beach in the Pirelli World Challenge. He's due. Dark horse in GT?
Dark horse in GT is Anthony Lazzaro. Qualified 3rd today in that our Ferrari Motorsports Ferrari 458 Italia. He's fast. He's been in a Ferrari at this track before. He knows how to get around.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, those two. And I would throw in, watch Mike Skeen. He may not be able to get through the pack in just 50 minutes with all the traffic to win the thing, but I think he's going to be spectacular fighting his way up through the pack. GTA, we lost Andrew Palmer. You finish on the podium as a GTA guy in the overall order. You're bumped into that class. So now who you think?
Nick Mancuso. He told me point blank and in the autograph session, I will not be a GTA driver after this event.
And from the form we've seen this weekend already, I would agree with you 100%. GTS?
Well, GTS, I got a lot of flack from Lawson Aschenbach by not picking him at the St. Petersburg round, so I'm going to make sure I go with Nick Janssen this time. I'm pretty sure that Nick can put it all together with that Kia Optima. It's the home race. This is where they need to be. I think Nick will be at top.
Yep, well, I think Nick is certainly going to be a player. I am, however, going to not stray out very far on the limb and go with Lawson. I think as the race unfolds, his experience, his ability, the way they've got those cars dialed at Black Dog, I think that's going to play out and maybe bring him home. Quickly, the dark horse?
Dark horse, Jack Roush Jr. He's a pole sitter. If he can put it all together and keep out there for 50 minutes, he'll win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, folks, it's time for us to get this race underway. That means I have to head over to the TV booth. Jeff, you're going to be heading down trackside to welcome the crowd here at Long Beach. And, of course, you'll be joined once again by the ever-capable Jeremy Shaw to call the race here. It is coming up next, the Roar by the Shore, presented by Kia. Don't go anywhere.
Revs coming up. We're green.
Big move coming off at 3.
2, 3, 4 abreast in some spots.
Side-by-side action.
He absolutely nailed it.
Three-way battle.
And we've got an incident. You would expect nothing less.
Oh, clips the inside apex.
Very racy. This is going to get interesting.
That is a brave move. What a pass. This is what World Challenge is all about.
St. Petersburg ended up being only one because of a rain out on the Saturday. A tremendous race though it was, and the Pirelli World Challenge really has taken off in leaps and bounds this year with the change from the specification of the cars. They've now gone to full FIA specification GT3 category rules, and that has brought in a whole load more cars into this championship. We've got 20 cars in the main GT category, 21 in GTS, and this is just a fantastic field that is going to provide some exciting action this afternoon. The winner of the first round of the championship in St. Petersburg was Thomas Enger in a Lamborghini Gallardo. He unfortunately is not here this weekend, but there's plenty of other guys here who are going to put on a great race for us this afternoon. Jeff Lepper is down on the grid area, and we will get to him just as soon as he is able to hear us here in the booth. But this is a full field of cars. We're running a little bit late, but it's going to be a great race, and I'm glad you're going to be able to stick around and join us here for this Pirelli World Challenge event. It's always a highlight here for the teams to come and race on the streets of Long Beach, and this year certainly no exception, particularly with this bumper field that we have. 40 cars will line up on the grid. Estimated value of those cars in excess of $20 million if you add them all together. That's just the cars on the grid, let alone all the other ancillary equipment that it takes to run this whole championship. But we've got 10 different manufacturers involved in the GT category, and another 10 also in GTS. So it's really become the manufacturer championship in the United States, if you like, this season. Just a few minutes away from the start, the cars will be coming around from the staging area. They'll line up on the grid. This will be a standing start for the Pirelli World Challenge, so the cars will come down and line up on the grid, and then they will do a pace lap and then go ready for the standing start. Let's now, though, go down to the grid and join Jeff Lepper.
We're waiting for the call. Waiting for our internet, yeah.
Stand by, he's waiting for his internet.
Can you give me a count card? How much longer? All right, we're ready.
Okay, he's ready. I'm queuing him now.
Welcome to the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. I'm Jeff Lepper as we get ready to start round number 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge GT and GTS category. We'll have the cars rolling up in a minute here. Thank you so much to all these great fans for sticking around as we get set to start. Once again, the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. I'll be joined a little bit later for the race call by Jeremy Shaw. Right now, I got to bring in a special guy here, Scott McKee, Director of Corporate Communications of Kia. Now, Scott, you do the race here at Long Beach. We had a big hospitality setup. Kia's been in this series for 3 years now. Tell us about your involvement in Pirelli World Challenge.
Well, it's been fantastic for Kia to be involved in Pirelli World Challenge, and this race in particular is special to us because it's our home race. We're right down the road in Irvine, California, about 30 miles away. So we've got 200 of our team members here, dealers, members of the media joining us for lunch, and to cheer on our guys, so hopefully to onto the podium.
Well, tell us about the involvement with Kia now, both on the racing side and then also this global market that Kia's entered now.
Well, motorsports is particularly important to us because Kia has always been known for value. We are a brand that people know for value, but they don't necessarily think about us for quality, reliability, and performance. And motorsports has that in spades. So we get out here and we measure ourselves against the best in the world. Porsche, Chevy Camaros, Ford Mustangs, and we compete with our Kia Optima, and we win, and that means a lot.
Well, you'll stick around and give us the most famous call in motorsports?
I'd be happy to do it.
All right, well, great. We'll go ahead and look at some of those cars that Kia is going to be competing against with our starting lineup. But once again, we just want to welcome everybody tuning in worldwide at worldchallengetv.com. If you're sitting in the stands and you're at this event and you can hear me, tune into your iPhone or your Android phone to worldchallengetv.com and watch this race live. We've got our cars rolling through now. Just got to make sure I'm going to be out of the way here. All right. Going to our starting grid, starting in the 10th row in our GTS category, Jorge De La Torre from Mexico. He's stationed in McAllen, Texas in the Racers Group Aston Martin GT4. Starting in the 39th position on the inside of row number 10, the natural cursed Aston Martin GT4, Nick Asayan. Looking at the 38th position overall, 9th row in our GTS category, Buzz McCall in the Reset MT Motul StopTech Porsche Cayman. Starting in the 11th position in GTS, Tony Gaples, the team principal at Black Dog Speed Shop, Team Chevy Camaro. Starting in the 13th position, Mitch Landry from the VersaCrane Motorsports Development Group Ford Mustang. Rick Boucher starts 12th position in the Nissan Motul SPL OS Geiken Nissan 370Z. Brad Adams in the Voodoo Yo MTV Raps Capaldi Racing Mustang. He starts in the 11th spot. In the top 10 in GTS, Drew Riggets, the Racers Group GT4 Aston Martin. Going into the 9th position, David Sturks, the other of the always evolving racing Ford Mustang Boss 302, starts in 9th. Andy Lee, the Best IT Bob Bondurant Chevy Camaro, Crown 7 on the side of that car, starts in the 8th position. 7th, we talked to about these drivers from Kia before. That is Mark Wilkins from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in the Brakes.org Kia Optima. Alec Udell from the Woodlands, Texas, starts in the 6th place. Jack Baldwin, the Reset MD Stop Tech Motul Porsche Cayman, starts in 5th. And before we hop in the car there, Johnny O'Connell, we got to talk to you here. A lot of success here, not in the Cadillac and Pirelli World Challenge. We're going to change that today, Johnny.
Well, you know what? First off, thanks to all the fans. You know, Long Beach is really the Monaco for the United States. So to be here, it's a real honor for all of us, and especially everybody at Cadillac. They gave us an amazing race car for qualifying, and you know, hopefully you have some great hot rods for the race.
Well, you took the line from the man right here, P.D. Cunningham. That's his line, Monaco of North America. Once again, starting in the 6th position in his Watson Racing Ford Mustang Boss 302S, the youngster, 18 years old, 4-year veteran of the Pirelli World Challenge, Alec Udell at only 18. Jack Baldwin starts in 5th. The Reset MD Motul Stop Tech Cayman in 4th place. Tony Buffamante entering the series first time out of Naperville, Illinois, in that Capaldi Racing Ford Mustang Boss 302S. Starting in 3rd, your 2013 Pirelli World Championship driver, champion in GTS, the Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro. In 2nd place, one of the best qualifyings he's had in his Pirelli World Challenge career, starting in the Kia Motors America DonorsChoose.org Optima, Nick Johnson from Buford, Georgia. And starting on the pole, his first season in the Pirelli World Challenge, his first pole, only 2nd race out, the Roush Racing Ford Mustang Boss 302R, Jack Roush Jr. We get back up to the booth. Jeremy Shaw will go through your GT grid as we're just getting ready here with our pre-race festivities. How about this field? We got Cadillacs, McLarens, Audi R8, Ferrari 458 Italias, Porsche 911 GT3R. We do need all personnel to clear the grid, please. All non-essential personnel, please clear the grid. Flag bearers stay. So once again, please, folks, we do need all non-essential personnel to clear the grid, please. I'm sorry. So once again, fans, we want to welcome everybody at WorldChallengeTV.com for tuning into this race live. Like all the fans, great fans here at this beautiful facility, 40 years here. If you have your iPhone or your Android phone, tune in at WorldChallengeTV.com and watch all the action live on your phone around this great facility. We got to give a huge thank you once again. 3 years into this, now an 8-year deal with Pirelli Tires. And Raphael, that's meant so much to this series. It's meant so much to these racers and these drivers. Man, what a success.
Absolutely. It's nice to see all of this come together. It's been a quick 3 years now that we've got under our belts. We look forward to another 5. And when you turn around behind you and you see this grid that we've amassed here with all these premium brands that are going to go racing door to door, it's pretty incredible. You don't find that anywhere else in North America.
Well, every single car, all 40 shed on those Pirelli P0 tires, and they're going to do a standing start right here down Shoreline Drive. Get those Pirelli P0s to hook right up, shoot down to turn number 1, a quick little juke around the fountain. 40 cars side by side, sometimes 3 wide, as they come down to get the command to start engines. We're just about 2 minutes away, and A couple more developments here, once again, with Scott McKee from Kia. Had a brand new car come out. New release for that vehicle. Tell us about that, and then we had that led as one of our parade cars as well.
We did. We had the Kia K900, which is our new luxury flagship sedan, rear-wheel drive, and it competes with the best in the world, but at a supreme value. So I would encourage people to take a look at it. Meanwhile, we had it out here giving a parade lap so everybody could have their first look at it. It's just getting into dealerships now.
Well, once again, we appreciate everything that Kia does for the Pirelli World Challenge as well as automotive worldwide.
Well, we're thrilled to be here and competing with all these great brands, and hopefully we'll have a good, safe race today.
We're just about a little over a minute out here to get the most famous words in all of motorsports. We're 1 minute away to the start of the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. It's going to be a 45-minute timed event from when these lights go out to the checkered flag, an all-out street brawl right here in Long Beach as we get ready to start. 40 cars taking the green flag, standing start. You'll see some of the greatest automotive machinery in all the world. This is the cars that you drive. The cars are like myself that you wish you could drive, and the cars that you see out here in the parking lot going door to door, wheel to wheel in a sprint brawl. 45 minutes. And for that command, for the most famous words in all of motorsports, the director of Corporate Motors America, Scott McKee.
On behalf of our friends at Optima Batteries and Pirelli Tire and all of our Kia dealers, drivers, start your engines!
Well, Jeremy Shaw, back up to you. Let's get this underway.
And the engines are fired up. This is going to be one heck of a motor race this afternoon. We've got 15 different manufacturers on the grid. We've got a stellar lineup of cars as well. Some of the storylines, Mike Skeen, he's a favorite. He moves to an Audi R8 this weekend. Johnny O'Connell returns strong after a tough start in St. Petersburg. And in GTS, boy, the Mustangs are strong. 4 of them in the top 10. And Jack Roush Jr. on the pole, his first career pole. The Motul race analysis is overcast, it's 62 degrees, absolutely perfect. We're going racing right here on the streets of Long Beach. It's 11 turn, 1.96 mile temporary street circuit. Let's run down the starting order in the GT field. On the 10th row, 20th overall on the grid, car number 95, Bill Ziegler from Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida, the Swisher Racing Audi R8 Ultra. Alongside him on the inside of row 10, Tommy Dreesy, car number 15, the amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie, Aston Martin GT3 for the TRG group. 18th on the grid, Tim Pappas, car number 54, the Black River Caviar Mercedes-AMG SLS GT3. 17th on the grid, car number 99, Jeff Courtney from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The KendyRaceStuff.com Audi R8 Ultra. 16th, car number 32, Brett Curtis from Austin, Texas, in the Spectra United Steel Valspar Audi R8 Ultra, one of 5 GMG Motorsports cars that are prepared down in Costa Mesa. 15th on the grid, Dan Knox, car number 80, the ACS Manufacturing Performance Speed Tech SRT Viper GT3R, another fan favorite for sure. 14th on the grid, making his debut this year, an irregular driver in the Pirelli World Challenge from Newport Coast in California. Car number 44 is Brent Holden in a GMG Racing Audi R8 Ultra. 13th on the grid, car number 41, Michael Mills from Angleton, Texas, the Effort Racing Porsche GT3R. 12th on the grid, Swedish driver based now in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, car number 10 in a Dragon Speed Racing Ferrari 458 GT3, car number 10, Hendrik Hedman. 11th on the grid, his teammate Mike Hedlund from Woodside, California, Headman and Hedlund. Car number 64 there, Mike Hedlund in a Dragon Speed Ferrari 458. 10th on the grid, car number 31, Tim Bergmeister from Langfeld in Germany, Effort Racing Porsche GT3R. 9th on the grid, Mike Skeen, talked about him a couple of minutes ago, from Charlotte, North Carolina, driving for the Hawk Performance team in an Audi R8 Ultra, brand new car for this weekend. 8th on the grid, James Sofronis from Villa Park, California, car number 14, Spider the Thermal Club, Audi R8 Ultra. 7th on the grid, car number 16, Nick Mancuso, the best place of the GTA category cars, the non-professionals in the R Ferry Motorsports Ferrari. 6th on the grid, car number 6, Robert Thorne, the first of 2 K-Pax Racing McLaren 12Cs. 5th on the grid, Andrew Palmer, the youngster, 19 years of age, in car number 21 from Chicago, Illinois. Fourth place on the grid, Alex Figge, car number 9, the second of the K-Pax Racing McLaren 12Cs. Third on the grid, car number 61, the veteran Anthony Lazzaro, R Ferry Motorsports Ferrari. And on the front row of the grid, the 2 Cadillac Racing Cadillac CTS-VRs. Car number 8 on the outside of the front row, Andy Pilgrim. And on the pole from Flowery Branch, Georgia, the series reigning champion, car number 3, Johnny O'Connell. Cars coming around to complete their pace up. They will line up in their grid formation on the front straightaway on Shoreline Drive. And right on cue, the sun comes out to add a little bit of warmth to the proceedings. I tell you what, it's going to get really hot down in turn 1 in a little bit, maybe a little bit less than a minute or so. And this is going to be a fantastic race. Jeff Lepper has made the sprint from the grid up here to the booth. You're looking a bit, actually, you're looking rather well, Jeff, after all that. That was a good old sprint, but we are in for a treat this afternoon.
Yeah, it sure is, man, and thank you so much for starting our show out for us, Jeremy Shaw. How about this, though? We're sitting here in the grandstands, overlooking pit lane, right about the start of our GTS field. Out here in the sunlight, in the sounds, this is going to be great. Once we get the 10-second side from our Pirelli World Challenge model there, she'll hold the board up. It'll be 10 seconds. The red lights will go on. When those red lights go off, we will be green here as we start round number 2. There it is. 10 seconds, she'll clear the board. You hear the revs come up. Get all the rev limiters. Watch out for 6 here. Nobody stalls here, Jeremy. This is going to be great. 40 cars taking the green flag here. The Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. There's the revs. Lights are on, and they're off. Get the green. Great jump from some of the Audis back there. Looks like everybody got off cleanly. We do have one car stalled in the very back, and that looks like it's Jeff Reeves in that Crown 7 Camaro. Here we go. 3 wide as they come down now into turn number 1. It is the Cadillacs. Johnny O'Connell, Andy Pilgrim. Look at that. 4 wide into turn number 1.
I think it was Andy Pilgrim who got the best start from the outside of the front row of the grid, down on the first run down towards Shoreline Drive and down towards turn 1. It was hard to see which of them actually made it through the corner in front. It was side by side, the 2 Cadillacs under braking for turn 1.
And look at that, Tony Buffamonte. Oh no, we have a big impact here. Looks like that might be the number 52. That is David Sturks in his always evolving racing Ford Boss Mustang. And is that the number 73? I believe that's Buzz McCall. No, that is Jack Baldwin. Oh, huge championship implications here for that Reset MD Motul StopTech Porsche Cayman. Oh, not what they wanted to see, Jeremy.
Oh, that's a disaster for Jack Baldwin. He always runs well. He won this race in the past and has a massive amount of experience. He was for sure going to be a championship contender. He led this championship last year all the way until literally the final lap of the final race, when the championship was taken away from him, won by Lawson Aschenbach. We're going to see a safety car will come out right now, but what a shame for Jack Baldwin. As you say, huge championship implications, because if you don't finish more than 70% of the distance, you don't get any points at all. And with 150 odd points available to the winner of each race, that is a massive hole from which Jack Baldwin will have to dig himself for the remainder of this season.
Yeah, now this is a timed event, so we have 45 minutes, so hopefully we can still get the amount and a lot of the laps in that we need. But this is the first caution flag in 3 sessions of time for these guys now. And unfortunately, that bottleneck through that turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, Fountain Complex area, looks like it just got the best of both guys.
Yeah, that's right. It's been clean so far, but what a nasty way to start out. David Sturks, car number 52, the Belgian, but based right here in the LA area, runs a horse farm, in fact, and he's an accomplished show jumper in his own right, and he teaches a lot of youngsters how to go show jumping as well, and some very talented youngsters who we may well see on the Olympic trail in years to come. So he's a big name in this part of the world, is David Sturks.
Well, David Sturks, a horrible way to start. And there's Lawson Aschenbach.
Wow.
Oh, his right front has been a little moved back. He has a right front flat tire, but looks like there's suspension damage on his Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro. And I saw a couple guys there in that shot just go side by side through there, and unfortunately that's a single lane, and try to fit 2 or 3 cars side by side, it does not work. is let's look at a replay here of the standing start and see if we can notice anything that takes place on the start. Looks like everybody's getting away cleanly, Jeremy.
Yeah, great start though from the on the right-hand side of the grid by Andy Pilgrim. He initially got the jump on Johnny O'Connell, but I think Johnny was able to hang on there and regain the lead around the outside going into turn one. Tremendous move by him, but yeah, farther down the field amongst the GTS contenders, we've seen quite a bit of carnage down there. We've seen Jack Baldwin, he for sure is a championship contender. Lawson Aschenbach in car number one, we just saw him in the pit lane as well. So big implications, as you say.
Yeah, that's not what they're wanting to do here with only the second race into the championship, but great to see that both drivers are out of their cars and safe, and what a testament to what the World Challenge does and that SCCA Pro Racing with making these cars safe for those drivers. We have the Cadillac CTSV safety car as well. A great job for them. They follow around the field in case there is an incident on that first lap. They're able to go ahead and have an immediate response to the drivers, and they were on scene. Great to see that, and thank you so much for Cadillac for providing that for us.
Yeah, we've got a Cadillac 1, 2, 3 at the moment. The safety car leads as the Cadillac, and then two race cars are both Cadillacs as well. The best of the Ferraris in third place. That is Anthony Lazzaro in car number 61.
Well, folks, we'll continue on here as we try to sort this out to see where we're at here. Is Johnny O'Connell still leading, Andy Pilgrim in second, Anthony Lazzaro in third. We have Alex Figge in fourth in his K-Pax Racing Volvo. James Safranis up to fifth. I will try to see where Mike Skeen is. It looks like he's all the way up to eighth. He picked up a couple positions there, had a bad start. I know I saw another driver that kind of stalled a little bit, hasn't quite figured the launch control out there, and that is Tim Pappas in that Black Swan Racing SLS AMG GT3 Mercedes. He was going by, guys. He's at the back of the GT field now, one of our GTA competitors. Moving back to our GTS leader now, that is Nick Johnson in that number 36 DonorsChoose.org Kia Optima. Tony Bufamonte coming from third in his Ford Mustang, and we got a Mustang behind him, and a Mustang behind him, and then another Kia. So great runs for those guys as they're coming up through the field.
In Villa Park, but he started, he was quick early in the session, in the practice session, but didn't qualify particularly well.
Yeah, a lot of problems for that car, just setup-wise, you know, just trying to get stuff going, get the setup in that car. And looks like they might have it. Hopefully, we'll see. They say it's a way better race car than it is just to go out there and practice and qualify on.
You're right, you know, and very limited track time this weekend, and several teams had some problems. You talked about the Black Dog Racing Mercedes of Tim Pappas, car number 54. It's at the back of the pack in GT. Talking to Jeremy Dale, who's kind of running that operation this season, and they came here with a entirely new specification compared to last year when they did run the car here, but it's totally different spec now. And they had some problems with a wheel sensor on Friday in the one practice session. As a result of that, they really didn't get any data at all to work from in order to improve the car for the qualifying session yesterday. So he struggled with understeer yesterday in the qualifying session. They made a lot of changes to that car overnight. Came out in the brief morning warm-up, having stiffened the car up substantially. Tim Pappas much happier with that car number 54 Mercedes, and went much faster in the warm-up than he did in qualifying. So he's hoping for good things in the race, but he's certainly got a lot of work to do, starting from way back in the pack in GT.
Boy, we did see Lawson Aschenbach, your champion here at the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. He won in 2013. He's also your 2013 GTS champion. We saw him come down pit lane, and I have not seen him come back out. already a couple laps down. Unfortunately, that is not how you want to start off a contention of your championship.
No, that's right. I think there's a new rule this year, isn't it? You have to complete 70% of the distance in order to score any championship points, and that is a new rule for this year. And again, that's going to put those guys in a big hole if they will be working as hard as they can to get that car number 1 back out into the field. And of course, there's a massive amount of experience on that Black Dog Speed Shop team. The crew chief there is Ray Sorensen. He for many years was a crew chief at Newman Haas Racing in the old Champ Car days. I know a lot of us here recall the Champ Car days very, very fondly. And also Trevor Weston, he was a gearbox guy at Newman Haas Racing for many, many years. He's on that team as well. And Mark Wider from here in Southern California used to run a team called Leading Edge Motorsports in the American Racing Series, an accomplished race engineer. He is part of that group as well. So a wealth of experience on that car number 1 for Lawson Aschenbach. I'm sure they'll be working hard to get it back out into the fray.
Well, you talked about this race and what the history we have of that, and when we got all kinds of great giveaways going on. One of those is your chance listening to WorldChallengeTV.com, or if you're in the stands, grab your cell phone. We have a text to win, a free GoPro Hero 3 camera. So if you grab your phone right now and text the word P0, P-Z-E-R-O, to 313131. Once again, text P0 to 313131 to win that GoPro Hero 3 camera. We're giving away one at every race this year. Gave away one at St. Pete, went to a guy in Hawaii. He was ecstatic. Your chance to win as well.
Yeah, too late. I've already texted. I've already won it. Nah, don't bother.
No,
yeah.
It's random. It's random.
Oh, damn.
You don't qualify. Getting a good look there at Tony Gaples, the lone Black Dog Speed Shop Team Chevy Camaro, now anchoring that team, so to speak, is Tony Gaples, the team owner, the number 11 Camaro. Is going to have a lot to do to get some points, manufacturer points for Chevy. Just getting reports, we're still getting the incident cleaned up there between David Sturks and Jack Baldwin. Both of those drivers are out of their vehicles. They are okay. Want to give everybody that was just now tuning in. Here looks like there's kind of a replay here. See if we can see anything here, Jeremy.
Yeah, just a big stack up down there in turn 1 on the exit of the corner. You can see the Kia making a move around the outside, and then a little bit farther back, you see Lawson Aschenbach already in trouble there, slowing down as he comes out on the exit of turn 1. So whether he had some sort of a difficulty going into the corner is hard to say, but certainly came out slowly. I think
it sure looked like David Sturks tried to shoot that gap there, got into the left front, or right front of Lawson, and shot across his front. Jack Baldwin, unfortunately, had nowhere to go, ran right into the side of him.
Yeah, absolutely innocent victim there, Jack Baldwin, and big disappointment for Big Jack. So, speaking to him a little while ago, he's so bullish. He loves coming here to the streets of Long Beach. He's raced here before in a Trans Am many years ago. Won the Trans Am Championship back in the 90s. And both he and his teammate here, Buzz McCall, they were part of that American racing team back in the 90s, wasn't it, when they won, and a massive amount of success and a huge amount of experience here in Long Beach. So just a disastrous beginning to the race for Jack Baldwin.
Well, a lot of special awards. We talked about the giveaways we have, but even our drivers get those awards. And every single car that took the green flag here today, 40 vehicles are all on Optima batteries. And our Optima batteries best standing start goes to driver the number 75, Always Evolving Racing Autotopia Ford Boss Mustang, Eric Davis. And I talked to him right before they were leaving pre-grid there, shook his hand and said good luck, and he goes, hey, I'm going for that Optima battery best standing start. He got it. He picked up 9 positions in 1 lap. Good job for that team. A little consolation to having their team car out of the race right now.
Yeah, that's right. Take the good news when you can get it. I think if you've got one car out of the race, then you've got to try and get some, particularly out on the first lap, really before the second corner even. Let's try and think of some positives. That's certainly a good positive for that Always Evolving Racing team.
But just Optima Battery, one of the great partners of the Pirelli World Challenge. We talk about Pirelli World Challenge, what Pirelli has done for this series. 3 years now, starting the 4th, extended that for 5 more years now of the Pirelli World Challenge. All cars racing in all 5 of our Pirelli World Challenge classes on that P0 slick, and it's really changed this whole outcome of sports car racing in America.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's a tremendously reliable tire. It provides great competition, and that's what we're going to be seeing unfolding as soon as we can get this track cleaned up and get the race back underway. And look at this field of cars that are coming down Shoreline Drive now. We've got the Cadillacs, we've got Ferraris, we've got McLarens, we've got Mercedes, we've got Audis, we've got you name it out there. It's fantastic. There goes the SRT Viper, car number 80. That's a brand new car that made its debut a few weeks ago. There's that glorious V12 Aston Martin, car number 15. Tommy Dreesy going underneath the Toyota bridge right now. And that is a fabulous sound. Back at the pack in GT at the moment. There's the first drive of the season for that car. It's prepared by TRG up in Northern California. And certainly Tommy Dreese has a little bit of some difficulties so far the weekend. Maybe he can have a strong race this afternoon. And certainly he's had success here in the past. Won here on the streets of Long Beach back in Trans Am as well.
Well, how about Nick Janssen now? That guy, last year, if it wasn't for bad luck, he would have no luck at all. Incident, failures, able to just barely make it through a race when he did it. And that donorshoes.org, Kia Motors America, Optima Turbo, sitting on second place on the front row, now leading this race. Obviously, we've only had one lap, but he's got to be just chomping at the bit right now.
Oh man, he is, absolutely is. And again, another guy with a lot of experience, a lot of different cars, is Nick Janssen, and he's the leader of this organization. The car's prepared down in Georgia, and that is where Nick Janssen makes his name these days, his home these days. Originally from Sweden. His brother is a crew chief at Penske Racing in the IndyCar ranks, and has been for a long, long time. But Nick has continued his own driving career. They're run by the Kinetic Motorsports organization down there, and he's only won once in the Pirelli World Challenge so far. Nick Janssen, his 38 previous starts. That win came way back in 04 actually, at Sonoma Raceway up in Northern California, but he would dearly love to get win number 2 right here in Long Beach with the Kia Motors headquarters just about a half an hour away.
Well, it looks like we'll get the word that 1 lap to go. Next time by, we'll be back under green flag racing here for the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. Round number 2 of our GTS class for the Pirelli World Challenge. Now, this changes a lot of stuff. You might have been able to maybe back off a little bit, maybe to say, I'm going to save my car a little bit till the end. Now, with this time running out, that's not going to happen at all.
Now, this really is going to be a street fight now, and they'll be able to drive these cars absolutely flat out all the way to the finish. The tires will be just fine, and it's now up to the drivers to bring it home and make some passes. And a lot of guys farther back down the field than they really wanted to be, but I think we're going to have a tremendous race. And in both of these 2 classes, in the GTS category, we see the Kia out in front, the red and white car number 36 with Nick Janssen, but a couple of Mustangs right behind him. Car number 33, that is Tony Buffamonti, and Jack Rouse Jr., our Polster, in car number 60. Then another Mustang, Alec Udell, car number 17, before the second of the Kias with Mark Wilkins, a very talented Canadian at the wheel of that car.
And I know when I was talking with Anthony Nazaro, we see Don Ishka coming down with a little bit of damage to his rear bumper, but talking with Anthony Nazaro and Nick Mancuso with those Ferraris, they said it better. These Ferraris take a little while to wake up. Now with this limited schedule, or limited time now, they're not going to have that time to wake up. They're going to really want to get it going and get it going good. And once again, we just want to welcome everybody that's, tuning in to Pirelli World Challenge, the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia, live worldwide at worldchallengetv.com. And one of those, my buddy Jim Daniels, he's watching live right now, just had his 3rd procedure for heart surgery. Man, Jim, if you know him, he ran a World Challenge before. If you know Jim Daniels, get well, buddy. He's got a bunch of buddies out there watching, all from FedEx. We appreciate you guys watching out there. And Jim Daniels, get well soon, man.
Yeah, I'll drink to that, certainly. Be good to see him back in the paddock. Tell you what, we've got perfect conditions right now.
Are out.
Ah, right. Perfect conditions. What a glorious Southern California evening. This is why we love Southern California, isn't it, folks? And for you out-of-towners, hey, welcome. Bit of a breeze, but perfect conditions, I think, for racing. The track should be pretty clear. They had the sweepers out after the Verizon IndyCar Series race, so I think the track should be in pretty good shape. And as long as we can steer clear of trouble at turn 1 this time around, hopefully we can get this race properly underway.
Well, you talk about the weather, you talk about our fans worldwide at worldchallengetv.com, but how about the fans here? Look at this, the stands are packed, coming down Shoreline Boulevard. Pace car is going to pull off. We're about to send 38 cars, 37 to the green flag here as we're back under green here. Green flag coming out for Johnny O'Connell leading that Cadillac CTS VR, bringing him down nice and slow under the Toyota bridge, wait for the green flag, into that acceleration go. There it is. We're back underway as, wow, Andrew Palmer and Alex Figge side by side. They really ducked out there as they go 3 wide down Shoreline Drive. Oh, man, this is going to be exciting down at turn 1. I hope you're watching that. The 2 Cadillacs are going to go breakdown. Anthony Nazaro in 3rd place, but everybody else is driving for 4th place. I think it's Satronis who just about held on ahead of the 2 McLarens, but through on the inside, I think, was maybe Andrew Palmer. Yeah, better luck of valor there as we saw the two K-Pax Racing McLaren MP412C teammates side by side. One of those had to give as there's Mike Hedlund now and Tim Bergmeister, the number 31 Effort Racing Porsche 911 GT3, getting that position. Heinrich Hedman right behind him in that beautiful Ferrari. The Swedish flag on the top of that. Kind of looks different to have a Ferrari painted like that.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Yeah, from Sweden originally is Henrik, and makes his home now in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But we made it around that first few laps, first few corners at least cleanly. And the Kia Optima still leads in GTS. Behind him, Tommy Buffamanti in that sort of light yellow Ford Mustang, and then Jack Roush Jr. in that multicolored Ford Mustang right behind him in third place.
Yeah, Raz Jack Roush Jr., a little bit of a driver's autograph session, said, man, that's a very unique paint job on the side of that car. He said, yeah, one of our engineers there came up with that paint job at Roush Fenway Racing. And I said, came up with it, or the paint jars fell over? They said, hey, that looks good. One of the two, but it is. Johnny O'Connell, Andy Pilgrim, 1-2. Anthony Nazaro in the Ferrari in third position right behind him. Going back to our GTS category, Nick Johnson in that Kia Motors America Kia Optima. Tony Buffamonte, the Capaldi Racing Ford Mustang, and Jack Roush Jr. in third place. But lurking behind him is the youngster, Alex Udell, that Watson Racing Ford Mustang, and then Mark Wilkins coming back, had a terrible qualifying in his Kia. He's moving his way back to the field, currently sitting in sixth.
Yeah, that was a great restart there by the two GMG Audi R8 Ultras, both moving up there into fourth and fifth place. We've got the two Cadillacs out front. Johnny O'Connell followed by Andy Pilgrim, who led most of the race at St. Petersburg a couple of weeks ago. He was beaten right at the end by Thomas Enger in the Lamborghini Gallardo that is not here this weekend. Third place here, though, is Anthony Lazaro, once again running strong in that R Ferry Motorsports Ferrari 458 Italia, and then the two GMG Audis from just down the road here in Santa Ana, Costa Mesa area, Fountain Valley, one of the three. It's all very close around there. Fountain Valley, I guess it is. But they are right on the heels now of these leaders.
We'll talk with Nick saying a little bit earlier in that Natural Career Speed34.com, the Racers Group Aston Martin GT4, and Nick Asayan said we're having power steering problems all weekend long. Looks like they got those issues repaired and fixed because he is up to 12th position now in the GTS category. He says, I'm going to write the car off or I'm going to go through the field. That's what I'm going to do. You can donate. Nick does so much. He has 30 families from the Wounded Warrior Project here this weekend of soldiers to make sure their kids are taken up for our fallen heroes. Donate now at speed34.com. Back to our front there, a good look at the two Cadillac Racing Cadillac CCS VRs. Two in a row, manufacturer championship in 2012 and 2013 with that man behind the wheel, Johnny O'Connell, the number 3 Cadillac. This place owes him. We cannot say that looked like Johnny O'Connell has this in control, because if you were watching the broadcast last year and here at this facility, he had a shrapnel come through his radiator, was 0.7 miles away from getting the win on the final pace lap behind the pace car. It's in the bag. Nope, pulls over. His race is over. It truly is never over till it's over.
Yeah, heartbreaker. There goes through turn 7, car number 36. That is Nick Johnson leading in the GTS category. The car right behind him, that 0-1 car of Don Istruck, he's a lap down. He started from the pit lane, had some problems, and he is a lap down on everybody else. So here come the Cadillacs now across the complete lap 10. It is still Johnny O'Connell leads, but not by very much from Andy Pilgrim. A little bit of a gap now back to Anthony Lazaro in third place, and then the two GMG Audi R8 Ultras.
Now this is going to be the strategy for Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim. Talked to both of those drivers, sat down with them, and they said, we have to get out in front quickly. That's the advantage of our cars. Like Lazaro said, the Ferraris take a little while to wake up. So the longer this goes green, the faster those Ferraris get. Those Cadillacs got to pull out. We have a great battle now here between Tony Gaples in 9th and 10th place Andy Lee in that Crown 7 Best IT Bob Bondurant Camaro. Andy Lee has been a pole machine since his introduction to the Pirelli World Challenge. Not really up to speed here this weekend. Looks like that Camaro's waking up now as the battle is on for 9th in GTS. Yeah,
we talked about the number 1 Black Dog Speed Shop Chevrolet Camaro. That has not made it out of the pit lane after that incident on the very first lap. So Unless they can get that car back out in the fray, there's going to be no points at all for Lawson Aschenbach or Jack Baldwin, two of the pre-season championship favorites in the GTS category.
And Andy Lee down to the inside. Turn number 1 takes that position over Tony Gables. He's up in tonight. Looking at the rest of our field, you see a great shot there of Mitch Landry, Rick Boucher in his Nissan 370Z. Boy, his program has really woken up this year. And back up to the front now is Nick Johnson and that DonorsChoose.org Kia Motors America at basically Kia's home race. Their corporate headquarters right here in Irvine, California. This is the Roar by the Shore presented by Kia. He's got to be in the driver's seat with that. But now the battle is on for second between those two Ford Mustangs, the Tony Bufamonte and your pole sitter, Jack Roush Jr. As great look here. They got that car hooked up from Nick Johnson, and I don't want to jinx him because every time I say something about how great he is, something happens.
Big battle for second place, though. The three Mustangs, pretty much nose to tail. Tony Bufamonte, behind him is Jack Roush Jr., behind him the youngster Alec Udell. That is a great battle for second place in GTS, coming down now Shoreline Drive toward turn 1.
Got some damage there to the front of Mark Wilkins' car, and the hood popped up a little bit on that. We'll have to watch that out. Those are really lightweight carbon fiber hoods, but if it starts flapping there and start getting in the way, the SCCA Pro Racing Association might have to look at that. We'll have to keep an eye and make sure that's not going to be an issue for that driver. But here's the battle for second. 4-way now between Tony Bufamonte, Jack Roush, Alec Udell, and Mark Wilkins. Great run around the fountain there coming through here. And one of the cars we haven't really talked much about or seen, and that is Tommy Treacy. We call him Hollywood Tommy Treacy. He comes out in that the Racing Group Aston Martin GT3, the 12-cylinder, in the Spider-Man 2 that opens up May 2nd. So if you're a big fan, I haven't seen a movie in over a year because I haven't known what's been on the side of Tommy Treacy's car. So I know what to watch now that Tommy Treacy has Spider-Man 2 on his car opening May 2nd. I can actually go back to the movies now.
Tremendous battles all the way down the GT field there. There's a great battle going on there for 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th. That's they're on their way down now towards turn 1, but absolutely fabulous battle going on. All sorts of different cars. The Aston Martins in, there's a couple of Audis, there's a Mercedes, and it's just a cat and mouse game going on down amongst those guys as they battle their way around this great street circuit.
Looking at our GTA class now, that's a new class that was added this year that's within our GT category called GTA, and that is for our gentleman drivers, guys that don't make their living racing cars, and leading that so far in 8th place is Nick Mancuso in the R. Ferry Motorsports Ferrari. 2nd place, Michael Mills in 12th in the Effort Racing Porsche 911 GT3R, and Heinrich Hedman in that Ferrari 458 Italia from Dragon Speed in the 13th position overall. But look at that now. Anthony Lazzaro in that Ferrari, the R. Ferry Motorsports Ferrari, starting to close in on Andy Pilgrim now. That gap is down to less than 1.2 seconds behind Johnny O'Connell. It's starting to wake up.
Yeah, they are. Those Ferraris really are coming on strong now. Trying to see the lap times here. 22.1 last time around, both for our race leader. Actually, I think the first and third place cars turn identical lap times there. We've got a couple of seconds or so between the first and third place cars, so the Cadillac's got a little bit of an advantage right now. But as we've seen in the past, the Ferraris do seem to tend to come on strong later in the race. The Cadillacs are a good bit heavier, the Ferraris are a good bit lighter, and because of that, the Ferraris take just a little bit more time to get heat into their tyres, and as Jeff Leffer was saying earlier on, really come on strong, and their pace comes towards the end of the race. That is what we saw at St. Petersburg. I would expect to see the same right here as well.
Well, the battle's still on for 2nd place now is Jack Roush Jr. putting the pressure to Tony Bufamonte in that Capaldi Racing Ford Mustang. They've been nose to tail for a few corners. The gap opens up on the straightaways a little bit, and now Alec Udell has fallen back in the grasp of Mark Wilkins and his Kia Optima. Alec Udell starting to defend a little bit in that Watson Racing Ford Mustang. Mark Wilkins putting that pressure on, so battle for second and a battle for fourth taking place here. One of the better stories this weekend that I feel is that CRP racing team from Hawk Performance, Mike Skeen. Mike's had some development with the Nissan GTR for the last couple of years. He hops in the Chevy Corvette from that CRP racing team, wins his rookie year out at Mid-Ohio, set on the pole. He's in a brand new Audi R8 LMS Ultra now. That has to be a game changer in the GT category now, having Mike Skeen in that Audi.
Yeah, it's great. And that car, said it was a brand new car. It's certainly a brand new car to the team. The car itself actually finished second in the Daytona 24 Hours last year. Driven, it was part of the APR team effort. Since then, the car's been used for little more than a show car, but it was delivered to the team last week, or the team took delivery of that car from the Audi Customer Sport base in Ohio last weekend. They drove it straight here, so the car hasn't even been to the CRP Racing shop yet, and they put it on the track for the very first time on Friday. So still a very steep learning curve for that team and for Mike Skeen. That's in car number 2, but still running fine, very well in 8th place.
Well, you saw Robert Thorne in that K-Pax Racing McLaren MP412C pull off with a left front flat. He pulled off the track down at the end of the turn. He's out of this race, and we had a pass for 4th place now as Mark Wilkins has got around the young Alec Udell for that 4th position. Mark Wilkins in that Brakes.org, and that's a great organization and a great charity that Kia Motors America provides with donors' shoes and the Brakes.org. The Brakes.org started by Doug Herbert and his family when both of his boys were tragically killed in an auto accident, and that break stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. It's a great organization that teaches teen driving, and we can't respect Doug Herbert and Kia for what they do with the brakes and the donorshoes.org, and they're currently leading our GTS category with Nick Johnson, as there is those 2 Cadillacs going back to our GT with Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim, 1-2.
Yeah, Mike Skeen there made up a couple of positions on that last lap, so car number 2 up into 6th place in that brand new Audi R8 Ultra. Still the 2 Cadillacs out in front, and in GTS it is still Nick Johnson comes past the pits now to complete lap 15. Behind him, that battle for 2nd place is continuing between Tony Bufamanti and Jack Roush Jr. As you were saying, Mark Wilkins now up into 4th place ahead of Alec Udell.
Yeah, lap traffic now as our GT cars are coming to the back of our GTS field. And boy, you talk about sports car racing and inter-class racing, this is the heart of it now. When you have a spec racing series, it kind of becomes a checker game. Hey, I can leapfrog this guy. And this is the great words of my co-host Greg Creamer, and you'll see him on the NBC broadcast on April 20th. He says now it becomes that high-speed chess game.
It does. Tell you what, the guy who's on the charge right now is Mike Skeen. See what his lap time was last time around. It was certainly charging up. He seems to be making some ground on the leaders here. Still the 2 Cadillacs out in front. They're lapping in the high 1-minute 21s, which I think is already underneath the existing track record here for the GT category. The old record was a 22.0 set by Duncan Ender in an Audi R8 LMS, slightly different specification. That record set last year. We're already below that track record here with 16 laps down in this race.
Well, Cadillac Racing, Cadillac CTS VRs leading this field now, 1-2 overall. They just got around Mitch Landry in that Motorsports Development Group Versa Crane Ford Mustang now, passing some more of our GTS field, going around Andy Lee, it looks like, in his Crown 7 Best IT Camaro, and right up ahead of him, Eric Davis, your Optima Battery Best Standing Start winner, picked up 9 positions on the green flag lap. So great job once again from that always evolving racing Mustang. See what the gap is here between Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim this lap by, and that is only 0.7 seconds as Anthony Lazzaro drops to over 3 seconds now. Looks like lap traffic is really starting to play a game here, especially with some of the guys further back in our GT field as Anthony Lazzaro drops way back over the 2 Cadillacs.
And just saw car number 1 go past there, Lawson Aschenbach, so that Black Dog Speed Shop guys, they have got that number 1 car repaired. It's a long way down. He's, what, 15 laps down on everybody else, but the car is in the race, so they're still trying desperately to get within that 70% distance. I think they're going to struggle, quite frankly, but nevertheless a valiant effort by that team. We'll just have to see how long this race goes in terms of laps to see whether he will qualify for championship points at the end of the afternoon.
Yeah, points are points, as there's a big battle going on now between Alex Figge and the number 9 K-Pax McLaren. I almost said it what their old car was, but Tim Bergmeister, the number 31 Effort Racing Porsche, right behind him, nose to tail. This is a battle for 8th position now. Tim Bergmeister did a lot of development on this Porsche car, was actually the first one to ever drive the GT3R version of the 911. and got a lot of laps in there. If you want somebody behind the wheel of a Porsche, I think the name Bergmeister and Porsche go hand in hand.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Still the two Cadillacs setting sail at front of the field, but Anthony Lazzaro definitely a little bit closer that time. The gap from first to third, about 3 seconds to come across the line. And in terms of, actually I think our scoring might have locked up. But Anthony Lazzaro certainly was a little bit closer that time around. So only a couple of seconds or so between the top three cars at the moment. Then a little bit of a gap back to the the pair of GMG Audis. And still James Petronas just about holding off his young teammate Andrew Palmer.
Look at that on our time charts now as I see the number 2 Hawk Performance Audi R8 Ultra up to 6th place now. Mike Skeen, that number 2 car, he's continuing his march through the field, picked up 3 positions since the green. That's hard to do in GT. As we're looking back through our field now is Mike Hedlund right behind Tim Bergmeister in that Dragon Speed Ferrari 458 Italia, starting to slowly catch the back of those guys. And boy, look at the traffic coming down here. Drew Riggins has this little turn signal on there on the right side of that Aston Martin GT4, telling that Ferrari where he can pass him at on the right side.
Anthony Lazzaro got his head down there in car number 61, that bright red Ferrari. There's 2 Audis about 67 seconds farther back, number 14 and 21, but closing on those two, most definitely, is car number 2, Mike Skeen. His last lap around was a 1 minute 23, but I think he is definitely inching a little bit closer to that battle for 5th and 6th place. 4th and 5th place, I should say.
Well, back up to the front is our 2 Cadillacs. We're starting to catch the leaders of our GTS field now. And I know Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim, the last thing they want to do is screw up anyone else's race. Now you got to be extra careful here because you really don't want to mess up the lead of the race for the GTS class cars. It still is Nick Johnson, Tony Buffalmonte, and Jack Roush Jr. 1, 2, and 3 in GTS as Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim still leading 1 and 2 in the GT category. Going back to our GTA category, it is Nick Mancuso sitting in 7th in his R. Ferry Motorsports Ferrari. Michael Mills still holds into 2nd in our GTA category and 11th overall in GT. And Heinrich Hedman is 3rd in our GTA category, sitting 12th overall in his Dragon Speed Ferrari.
The GT leaders now just about working their way through the GTS category leaders as well. Our overall race leader, Johnny O'Connell, turns into turn 1. He's right behind now the 2nd place car in GTS. That is that bright blue car of Tony Buffalmonte.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw Bill Ziegler there get out of the way of these leaders, and Johnny O'Connell puts the Mustang there of Buffalmonte between himself and Andy Pilgrim. The battle is on for this overall win now between these 2 teammates, as Anthony Lazzaro is still lurking in the background in that Ferrari, and that's really opened up the gap now between 2nd and 3rd of Buffalmonte and Jack Roush Jr. in our GTS lap.
And those leaders working their way through the GTS leaders on this race has played into the favour at the moment of Anthony Lazzaro, now just 2 seconds behind the race leader car. You can see it now coming on the Seaside Way. That number 61 Ferrari in 3rd place is a lot closer to the 2nd place Cadillac of Andy Pilgrim.
Yeah, it's not over like we learned last year till the checkered flag comes out. So make sure you stick around, folks. I think we're gonna take a quick break here as we get back to the action. Just a few moments. I got a huge, looks like a huge spin here from Bill Ziegler and that Swisher Racing Global Motorsports Group. We'll hold off on that break for just a few minutes here to see if we can get him going again. Is coming down this front straightaway here at Shoreline Boulevard, our 2 leaders.
The battle for 4th place now really is heating up. We've got the 2 Audi R8 Ultras. They've changed places. Andrew Palmer in car number 21 has found a way round his team leader, James Petronas. But that's the good news. The bad news is that the car number 2, Mike Skeen, is right with those 2. The 3 Audis pretty much nose to tail as they came across the line that time. We're on to lap 22. We've got 37 minutes gone in this race. And so the clock is certainly ticking. Not a long way to go, but Mike Skeen making tremendous progress in that Hawk Performance car number 2.
Certainly heating up here in the GT category. Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim 1-2. Anthony Lazzaro right there in third place. That is not over. Then a local yellow there. That car once again of Bill Ziegler and that Swisher Racing Global Motorsports Group Audi R8 Ultra had an incident there. Looks like he spun. We saw him slow earlier, get out of the way of all these guys. Not sure if that creates a buildup on his tires or not.
The leader's coming out of the hairpin one more time. Gap perhaps opened up just a little bit between the two Cadillacs and that third place Ferrari of Anthony Lazzaro. Back a ways now is car number 21 in fourth place, and now fifth. There's still James Bonus, but under pressure now not only from car number 2 but also car number 61. That is Nick Mancuso, the best place of the non-professional drivers in car number 16, the second of the R Ferry Motorsports Ferrari 458 Italias. And right behind him also is that fabulous McLaren, the K-Pax McLaren car number 9 of Alex Figge, and the Effort Racing Porsche of Tim Bergenmeister car number 31.
Now they had a few corners of very clean laps there, not able to have any lap traffic, as now they're back into that lap traffic with getting around Buzz McCall. And that reset in the Motul Top Deck Porsche Cayman. Anthony Lazzaro down to the inside of him, does not want to get boxed up here behind him down the straightaway. Looks like one of those Aston Martin GT4s. I believe that's Nick is saying. No, that is Jorge De La Torre out of Mexico. He takes place in McAllen, Texas now from the Racers Group. And oh, better part of valor there with Andy Pilgrim. Wasn't sure if Jorge saw him. He backed out of it, made sure he did not stick his nose in there. The last thing he wants to have happen is to have the door closed on him as he comes through the field. But it is Johnny O'Connell now able to extend his lead out over his teammate Andy Pilgrim. Now Anthony Lazzaro, no problem getting around Torra in that Aston Martin. He's going to try to see if he can get a good run on Andy Pilgrim and then try to run down Johnny O'Connell. There is the gap. You see it on your screen now. First, second, third. Cadillac, Ferrari.
Yeah, that's the biggest gap that Johnny O'Connell has at the front of the field. It's last time around the gap between first and second was just under 2 seconds. That's the biggest gap. It's been pretty much all the way through the race, and Anthony Lazzaro, having closed right in there, has now dropped back a second or so in third place. But Andrew Palmer, again, what a revelation this young man is. This last time around was a 1 minute 23.1, pretty much matching the pace of Anthony Lazzaro. This is his very first full season of racing. He did only less than 10 races in total last year, Andrew Palmer. Started off in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series over here, went over to the World Finals in Italy, and he won that as well. And he certainly has a big future ahead of him driving for the Southern California-based GMG Racing Group, and he is magnificently running there in fourth place.
Just under 9.5 minutes remaining in this race. You saw a good shot of damage to the rear of Jeff Reeves, Best IT, Bob Bondurant, Shadowworks Camaro. Not what he wants to have his race. Had problems at St. Pete. Looks like the problems are continuing here at Long Beach. Johnny O'Connell coming onto the back of Nick Asayan. We mentioned Nick Asayan before, that Speed34.com charity. Log on right now at Speed34.com and donate. Help out these great military kids of our fallen soldiers. Get those kids through school, create some scholarships. What a great organization, and Nick does that each and every race we go to. What a great ambassador for Pirelli World Challenge that Nick Asayan is.
Yeah, it's very cool. There's so many great stories amongst this Pirelli World Challenge field. And we've got some great battling going on as well. We talked about the battle of the still got 2 Cadillacs out in front. Number 3, Johnny O'Connell. Number 8, Andy Pilgrim. Anthony Lazzaro there in third place. Then it is Andrew Palmer, followed by James Safonis. And then the third Audi, car number 2 of Mike Skeen. And he has hot on his heels Anthony Mancuso in car number 16. And then the number 9 K-Pax McLaren of Alex Figge. And also Tim Bergmeister in the Effort Racing Porsche. That's a great battle going on there. And Mike Headland, once again, he's not really a professional driver, but he is running in the professional category this weekend, and he's running there in an excellent 10th place overall for the Dragon, for that black Dragon Speed car number 64.
Well, 8 minutes left, and I just saw Andy Pilgrim closing that gap back down over Johnny O'Connell. It's only 1.1 seconds now. It was 2 seconds. Andy Pilgrim is on a charge to see if he can make this a battle now. And oh, heavy damage to Tommy Dreese now in that Spider-Man 2 opening May 2nd. That Racers Group Aston Martin GT3 Vantage. Heartbreak for Tommy Dreese. Major damage to the front of that Aston Martin. Not how he wanted to do his race, but man, heartbreak for Hollywood Tommy Dreese.
Yeah, that is a shame because he'd been making some progress there during this race. He struggled earlier in the weekend, has not had much time in that car. It is a glorious car and it's perhaps a little bit underdeveloped for the Pirelli World Challenge at this stage, but hopefully we'll see a lot more of that car later in the season.
There's our leader, Nick Janssen, at DonorsShoes.org Kia Optima Turbo. It's a 2-liter turbocharged front-wheel drive. One of the 2 only front-wheel drive cars in this field is Nick Janssen. And one of the Ferraris is slow. I'm not sure who that is, if that's your GTA leader, Nick Mancuso, or is that his teammate, Anthony Lazzaro. I didn't get a number on that car, but definitely one of those Ferrari Forza Italias is slow coming through that field.
As we see Tommy Dreese bring that number 15 Aston Martin into the pit lane. We've got a battle again on at the front of the field, down towards turn 1. The 2 Cadillacs are back together, and not only that, Anthony Lazzaro in that bright red Ferrari. He's pretty much right with him as well, Jeff.
Yeah, it's going to be see if he can catch that up there, and we'll get a good look. Now we might have a new GTA leader as they come down through, as it looks like that was, I believe, Nick Mancuso that was slow in that Ferrari Motorsports Ferrari. Tony Buffalmonte, Jack Rouse Jr. second and third in the GTS category, and there is the 2 Cadillacs, now the Ferrari. How about this, a 3-way battle with 6 minutes left to go in through lap traffic. Anthony Lazzaro on the back of Andy Pilgrim. Andy Pilgrim on the back of Johnny O'Connell now. Johnny O'Connell on the inside of Brad Adams. Brad Adams doing a great job to get out of the way of these 3 leaders. The battle is on in GT.
Yeah, certainly Brad Adams has been very generally, as we see car number 16, Nick Mancuso with that flat right rear on that Ferrari Racing Porsche. He had been running in 7th place.
Boy, here's a battle heating up now in our GT category for 3rd. Andy Pilgrim in his Cadillac Racing Cadillac CTS VR trying to defend now against Anthony Lazzaro. Boy, I talked to Anthony in that driver autograph session. He said this is what he was looking for. And oh, we got a spinner there of Dan Knox in that Viper SRT GT3R. Looks like he's going to get cleared. This, that, knows they're good. And we go back to our GT battle here. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd GT. 5 minutes remaining in this race. 5 minutes, about 3 laps at best for these guys. If Anthony Lazzaro needs to make this happen, we have to make it now. You got to go with the Team Cadillac now. Does Andy Pilgrim defend to make sure that that Ferrari doesn't get them so Cadillac can get max points, or does Andy go for the win against his teammate Johnny O'Connell?
I think both these drivers want to win the race. I don't think there's any team orders there at Cadillac Racing. I think they're free to fight amongst themselves, perhaps in the same vein as we saw in Formula 1 last weekend. But I think we certainly expect to see those 2 to battle for honours amongst themselves, but they can't afford to play around too much because Andy Lazzaro is not too far behind them at all. Only about 5 car lengths back in 3rd place for Anthony Lazzaro.
Well, Anthony Lazzaro didn't look like he got held up by Mitch Landry there. Great job by Mitch Landry. They tell that in every single driver's meeting. Stay on your line. He did just that. No balking there for Mitch Landry. Anthony Lazzaro still trying to run down Andy Pilgrim right at 4 minutes remaining in this race. Wow, is this going to be a barn burner until the end? We learned here last year, it's never over till it's over. I ain't going to predict who's going to win this, who's going to finish 2nd, who's going to finish 3rd.
So those Cadillacs, they got plenty of grunt coming out of the hairpin onto Shoreline Drive. They just leap away from Ferrari, but the Ferrari's pretty slippery on the straight lines, and by the time they get down to turn 1, there isn't too much to choose between the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Johnny O'Connell certainly is looking good at the moment, but they're not going to count those chickens just yet, because as you said earlier on, Jeff, anything can happen.
Well, speaking of anything, it looks like I just saw Mitch Landry come onto Shoreline Drive and saw a big plume of smoke out of the back of that Mustang. I'm not sure if he blew up or not coming down the straightaway there, but we'll have to watch for fluid down that main straight. Definitely not what we want to see, but we'll make sure there's no fluid on the ground. It smells like rear end from up here, and that's right, we're up in the stands, we're in the outside, we're in the sunlight. We're calling this race at this beautiful facility, the Roar by the Shore, presented by Kia, and it is Kia. 1st place in GTS, Tony Buffalmonte in the Mustang in 2nd, and Jack Rouse Jr. 3rd place in his Mustang. Right now, 1st, 2nd, 3rd in GTS. Now Johnny O'Connell has opened up a big gap now. That's well over 2 seconds over his teammate Andy Pilgrim. Anthony Lazzaro is in third with right now 2.5 minutes remaining. As there is Andy Lee now right in front of Johnny O'Connell, and saw some smoke out of the back of Andy Lee's car. He does not want to have that happen in front of Johnny O'Connell.
Across the line they go to complete lap 29, and the clock shows what, still over 2.5 minutes, so there should be 2 more laps around here, so we'll should probably have the white flag next time around. And this is going to be a battle to the end between these two. And meanwhile, in GTS, it is still Nick Johnson who leads the way, as he has from the drop of the green flag.
Well, Nick Johnson, you watched our pre-show at WorldChallengeTV.com. He was my pick to win this round. I thought that Kia might have got all the bugs out of that car. They did a lot of off-season testing, a lot more development on that car. Nick Johnson, no slouch behind the wheel. He knows how to get it done, winning in multiple championships, multiple races worldwide, and he's here in Pirelli World Challenge now, leading our GTS class. It still is Johnny O'Connell, Andy Pilgrim, and now Anthony Lazzaro has fallen way back. He's well over 2 seconds behind Andy Pilgrim. It looks like Andy Pilgrim decided to turn the wick up on that Cadillac a little bit, not worrying about Anthony Lazzaro anymore. Does he have a chance to run down Johnny O'Connell here at the end?
Here come the Cadillacs one more time around into the hairpin turn. Again, they've pulled away just a little bit. The traffic has worked in their favour over the last couple of laps. And now it's John O'Connell leads by a little bit more than a second from his teammate Andy Pilgrim. And in third place is Anthony Lazzaro, dropping back just a little bit.
And there it is, 1 lap to go. And this is where Johnny O'Connell was 1 year ago today. With 1 lap to go, he was behind a pace car, had the race in hand. His Cadillac gave up as shrapnel from Alex Figge's Volvo S60 came through the radiator and parts of that car. So I'm not going to call it yet, but Johnny O'Connell, that number 3 Cadillac Racing CTSVR, in the lead over Andy Pilgrim. Well, Jeremy, I'm going to head down to Victory Circle. You'll call the end of the race for us. Thank you so much for joining us at WorldChallengeTV.com. I'll go post-race. We'll interview these drivers.
Thanks, Jeff. Less than 2 miles to go, less than around about a mile to go now for Johnny O'Connell. He's led from the green flag. We had the early caution period. Since then, it's been a flat-out blast for Johnny O'Connell. He's trying to keep his teammate at bay. They're coming into the hairpin for the very last time. Here comes Johnny O'Connell with a slower car ahead of him. He's not getting away. There goes Johnny O'Connell. Victory in the Roar by the Shore here on the streets of Long Beach in the second race of this year's Pirelli World Challenge. A tremendous drive by our reigning champion Johnny O'Connell. And in second place is Andy Pilgrim. Third place for Anthony Lazzaro. That battle of the fourth comes across the line now. It's just Andrew Palmer in car number 21 over James Sophonis in car number 14. Mike Skeen in car number 2, the third of the Audis there in that string right there with them as well. Alex Figge brings that glorious K-Max McLaren across the line in 7th. Tim Bergmeister, car number 31 in the F1 Racing Porsche in 8th place. Mike Headland comes across the line now in 9th. And there goes Michael Mills to complete the top 10 for the Dragon Speed Time and that Ferrari 458 Italia. Waiting for the contenders in the GTS category. They are coming round now into the hairpin. And Nick Johnson, boy, he has waited an awful long time for this second victory in the Pirelli World Challenge. It's been 10 years since Nick Johnson scored his first and only victory so far. But here comes Nick Johnson now. He's cruising over the checkered flag. Across the line he goes. A wonderful home victory for the Kia Motorsports brand. And there in second place is Tony Bufamanti. Just holds on to that place. But what happened to Jack Rouse Jr.? He was passed by Mark Wilkins on the final lap. So Mark Wilkins in car number 38 will take third place. 2 Kias on the podium. And let's have a look at our awards from this race, our special awards. The Optima Battery Best Standing Start, that went to Eric Davis in car number 75, an always evolving Mustang, the Auto Utopia car. The Mustang made up 9 positions off the start. The Sunoco Hard Charger also goes to Eric Davis. He's made up 11 positions in this race. And in Andy Lee will get the invisible clean pass of the race. That's the number 20 Best IT Chevrolet Camaro. Also, Nick Johnson is credited with the Cadillac best move of the race in the Kia Racing Kia Optima. He comes home and wins the GTS category. A tremendous drive. Boy, they've had all sorts of problems with those cars. They had a lot of difficulties in the first round at St. Petersburg a couple of weeks ago, but this afternoon that team has been absolutely flawless, and the Kia Motorsports car come home with a 1-3 finish. Let's have a look at our race results in GT, the overall results, and we will see that it is the Cadillac Racing. They take a clean sweep of the first two positions. Johnny O'Connell in car number 3 ahead of his teammate Andy Pilgrim, takes the flag in second place in car number 8. Third place, number 61, the Ferrari of the R. Ferry Motorsports team, Anthony Lazzaro, in fourth place, just at the checkered flag. Andrew Palmer, the 19-year-old, in car number 21. His teammate, Jem Sophonis, a veteran, he'd won here on the streets of Long Beach before, has to settle for fifth this afternoon. Mike Skeen comes over in sixth place in car number 2. A great result, first time out in that brand new to the team Audi R8 Ultra in seventh place. Car number 9. That is Alex Figge in the K-Pax McLaren. Eighth place is number 31, Tim Bergmeister. Ninth place, car number 64, Mike Hedlund. A fine drive by the very talented non-professional driver, although he is running in the professional ranks this weekend, in car number 64, Mike Hedlund, ninth. And rounding out the top 10, Michael Mills, who will take home the GTA honours, and a fine run result for him in car number 41, the second of the Effort Racing Porsche 911 GTRs. In GTS, it is going to be the Nick Johnson, car number 36, that comes home the victory. But I tell you what, there's going to be a big celebration down there in Victory Lane in car number 36. Car number 33, Tony Buffamanti, in that Ford Mustang Boss 302S, Capaldi Racing, Ford Racing entry. Third place, Mark Wilkins on the very last lap there. Mark Wilkins in car number 38, the second of the Kia Optima, Kia Motors America cars come home in third place, ahead of Jack Roush Jr. He started from the pole in that Ford Mustang Boss 302R, but he has to make do with fourth place today. Alec Udell, the youngster, now number 17, also in a Watson Racing Ford Mustang in fifth. Sixth place, Drew Riggets. What a fine result for him. A newcomer to this sport. He's only been racing for a little bit more than a year in the Aston Martin GT4 for TRG AMR North America, car number 02. Seventh place, car number 20, Andy Lee, in the Chevrolet Camaro Best IT Bondurant School Crown7.com entry. Eighth place, car number 11, Tony Gaples. So some consolation for the Black Dog Speed Shop Chevrolet Camaro in eighth, followed by number 96, Brad Adams, that very brightly coloured Ford Mustang. And rounding out the top 10, Nick Asayan, also from California, from San Diego area, car number 34, the Aston Martin GT4. That brings to a tremendous race, I think, for this afternoon. I'm glad you could join us here. It's been a tremendous afternoon of racing, tremendous weekend of racing, perfect weather conditions, well, a big crowd on hand. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Jeremy Shaw. I've been joined by Jeff Lepper up here for this final race of the afternoon. Thanks for joining us, and for the Pirelli World Challenge, we'll be back on the World Challenge TV.com in a couple of weeks' time at Barber Motorsports Park. I hope you can join us then.